18 strikeouts for Corey Kluber. Swing and a miss. Corey Kluber.
Acting on Wednesday night, Jameson Taillon becomes part of forever. He'll do Cy Young, seem like such a distant memory, but he has achieved greatness on this mound in Texas. He is now part of baseball immortality.
All right, let's get a little cheers fired up about this. We got Margs rolling.
Dude, I need it.
Special guest today. Right off the
trying-
runway.
I was trying
Straight off the runway.
to take it easy on the flight. Not sure if you're too hammered, but the boys got an off day tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so we got Crazy Stories, second overall pick in 2010. Numerous surgeries throughout your career. Tommy John, you had a battle with cancer. Also got domed up by a line drive, ate it twice.
Two domed up.
Not just one.
Former Pittsburgh Pirate and New York Yankee, current Chicago Cubs pitcher, 9-year big leaguer Jameson Taillon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Nice intro.
Like it? You like it? The hype
Everybody
man?
likes the intro.
Yeah.
Love the intro.
Straight off the runway, why don't you tell people your last hour? You know, what a dedicated friend coming to rip Margs with your
Yeah.
boy CK.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons I committed to this. I know Corey likes tequila the way I do, but Cubbies won today in Cincinnati. We needed that.
Happy flight.
The boys started off the year hot. We've been struggling a little bit. Happy flight. Yeah, so I was in Cincinnati. We took off. I joined the Mario Kart game, so we all have Switches. I was ripping that, drinking some wine, and then yeah, straight off the runway to here.
Love it. What is
Don't
it?
leave out the high card pull.
Yeah.
So the Mario Kart game bucks up next to the poker game, and they had to pull my arm to get me to do the $100 high card. Everyone throws $100 on the poker table. You pick a card, and I pulled an ace, and Belly pulled an ace. So we had to do a card off. I asked him if he wanted to split, and everyone got mad at me for bringing that up. So I pulled an 8, and I was pissed about it, and then Belly pulled a 7. So I got a pretty nice pot. I'm
There you
feeling
go.
good about it.
Yeah.
Feeling
It's a good start to the trip.
Big league flights. That's like, I mean, most people don't know what goes on those flights. It's got to be one of the best parts of it. A lot of sipping, a lot of gambling.
A lot of everything, yeah. So I've heard, so like on the Yankees, we had like a show flight. Like we had like the poker tables in the first class seats. So everyone like sat in their seats and talked, but like there wasn't much moving around. We're just on a regular United flight. Still obviously very nice, but like our team is just up. Like the aisle is just full of people. Everyone's mingling and talking. It's pretty cool. I got to do a dad's trip one time and bring my dad on a flight with the Pirates. And my dad's a big wine guy. And Francisco Cervelli comes down the aisle pouring in like red Solo cups, pouring like $500 bottle of wine just for like everyone's dads. And my dad looks at me as like, you know, the flight attendants are passing out Chick-fil-A. My dad's like, this is your wife. This is absurd. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty sweet.
It's hard to beat.
Every night. I mean, can you tell if you guys have won a game? If someone wasn't at the game and they were on your flight, would they know?
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty easy. I think either way, like coming into an off day, I think everyone would have fun and stuff, but I think like winning definitely, especially our team. We have a lot of like very aware dudes. So if we're losing, everyone's just kind of quiet. And we're winning, it's a lot more fun.
Those happy flights are always the good ones. You know, a getaway day, win.
Everyone's high-fiving, saying happy flight. That sets the tone right there.
Yep.
On the field, you're high-fiving. Happy
The
flight.
preparation's already begun.
Yep.
Was that
Yeah.
Did you notice that too, CK, playing with the Yankees? I've heard guys talk about that. How the flights with the Yankees were a little different than other teams.
Yeah, so the Yankees use like the Delta like charter plane. Like JMO said, it's first class seats pretty much the whole way back. It's got tables. When I was in Cleveland, it was just a normal United plane, like you're talking about now, and it's still way above and beyond normal travel. But
Yeah.
when you get on one of those charter planes, it's different. The Rays use one of the charter planes as well, and it's a step above.
We had a pretty good story from this year. So we played the Astros at home. We swept them. We're feeling sweet about ourselves. We're going out of town. We pull up to the airport, and we're at like the private part of the Chicago like O'Hare Airport, and the Astros plane, like we walk through, we do security, and like the Astros plane is front and center, and it's massive. Like, dude, it looked like double the Yankees plane size. Like, it's massive front and center, and we had to like walk around it to the back to like our little plane and stuff. We're just like, dude, we got to put our heads down, make sure the Astros don't see us.
Yeah, they can't know this is our flight.
So the Yankees flight it's the
pretty
plane's sick.
It's pretty show. Yeah.
What's the home clubhouse like in Wrigley? I've only heard, after they
actually-
redid it and stuff.
It's actually really nice.
Yeah.
We're pretty spoiled.
Because they like dug underground to build it or something, didn't they?
Yeah, so the locker room's super nice. We have more training room modalities than I've ever seen. You want red light, cryo, hyperbaric chamber, sauna, steam room, cold, like anything you could think of, the Cubs have.
It's all there.
Good food, good weight room. If it were the old days when Wrigley had like the horrible visiting side,
Yeah.
the home side was like this, it's a serious competitive advantage, but I think the visiting side's gotten better.
Yeah, it's not bad anymore. It's not bad.
What's the seating arrangement on the planes? You got like the vets, the rookies, the coaches at the front. How's that work?
I feel like it used to be a little different. Like when I was a rookie, I sat like at the very, so it's like staff, and then it hits a point like exit row-ish is where like it turns to players, and I sat like right by the exit row, and I wouldn't even look at the card game in the back. I'd just sit there. I would double up. There could be 10 open rows, and I would double up as a young guy and like keep my eyes straight ahead. Now it's like a little different, but I'd say like more loud crowds in the back, and more like casual, sleepy crowds in the front. I took an exit row because I'm tall and I need that, but I pretty much always abandon my exit row to go to the back and have fun. But
Now.
I have the exit row available to me now, but I leave it
In case it's needed. Yeah.
What else is, aside from the flights, what's the most big league thing that makes the big leagues big league for people that don't know at all?
So that's a tough question. I'd say with the Cubs, like our travel secretary and clubbies are like ridiculously good. And they get mad if you don't ask them to help with things. So like they go get everyone's gas for them and stuff like that. Like when I see guys handing their keys to clubbies to go get gas, I'm like, that's the show.
Mhm.
Or, people the day after they pitch want special food brought in or special drinks brought in, or, I mean, you see it all. Like today, knowing we had an off day tomorrow, our team had like a bunch of the clubbies in Cincinnati go pick up like different bottles of wine and bourbon and tequila. And it's just like, I really enjoy like wine and tequila and whiskey. And I'm looking around, I'm like, dude, these guys are buying some good stuff. So it's just the everyday stuff, I'd say. Like you kind of just see that it's just different.
You get spoiled. I mean, these guys, they'll do anything and everything you ask them to. Like he's talking about. I mean, from going to doing your laundry. If you're a guy that's getting called up and down, you're staying in a hotel, they'll do your laundry for you. To going and getting gas. Like
I've got my parents on this trip, and like I just send them our travel secretary's number. I'm like, if there's any problems,
Wow, that's
take care of
awesome.
their hotel, because my parents have grinded to help me get to this point. I'm like,
Mhm.
if there's any problems, you call VJ. That's your guy. Don't call me, call him, because he will take care of it no matter what. So
A good travel secretary is probably the most important person in like a major league organization to keep the wheels rolling.
Would you guys ever feel bad or no asking certain things? Like, do you hit a point in your career where you feel comfortable?
I have never asked for anything until I started like tipping really well.
Yeah, I think as long as you're
Career where-
taking care of them, then
I
I
was
feel
gonna
like
say, driving the car to get gas, getting tipped, it's probably a pretty sweet whip. Not
I
a
gotta
terrible
be
gig.
honest, I started doing it. I started asking them to go get gas because we played the White Sox last year and the little crosstown rivalry. And I want to say it was Dylan Cease. I hope I'm not messing that up. But I think like him or his girlfriend got gas and got like either carjacked or like robbed at the gas station right by Wrigley. And it's in Wrigley's a cool area.
it's like Wrigley's the better of the two spots.
I don't know. I'm not aware of the surroundings. Like clubbies know, all the areas and like where to go. They've got guys everywhere. So it's like,
Yeah.
just let them do it.
Even with all that though, like the travel, the perks, does it ever get tiring at times? Obviously you get tired from playing, but the travel, all the cool stuff, the perks that come with it.
When you're struggling, it gets tiring fast. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like the older I've gotten, like I don't know how you were, but like for me, the older I've gotten, I'm past like the honeymoon phase, and I love it and I appreciate everything, but like it's a grind. Like rent's due every day. It's a jungle. You gotta prepare. You gotta work extremely hard. The perks are great, and I love seeing young guys come up and like they're comfortable and they enjoy it. But I'm like, dude, once that honeymoon phase ends,
Right.
and like the report's out on you, shit's gonna get hard. And
The longer you do it, I feel like the more of a the more of a job it becomes. Like you can still love it and still enjoy doing it, but it becomes much less of like this magical experience of like, oh shit, I'm in the big leagues, to like now it's a job.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of guys are getting into the league and getting out quicker now too, because those reports, like you're talking about, are coming out quicker.
The turnover it's crazy.
They get exposed easily.
To get 10 years like you did and like I'm hoping to is extremely hard. Like the longevity factor. This is like real nerdy baseball talk, but I feel like there's so many trends nowadays, like fastballs up or high spin guys. Like there's so many trends, launch angle, whatever it is, and teams keep chasing something different, and it's like this moving target. That longevity is hard. Like you got to build something that's all for, I don't know, you got to build something that's long lasting. So for me, it's pitchability. It's being able to throw a bunch of different pitches or strikes.
We used to talk about that though. Like even though you have a high spin fastball, like just pitching exclusively up in the zone didn't work for you. You had to be able to still pitch.
I would have been out of the game. Like I would have been DFA'd so quick if I was trying to do that.
But you were aware of that, even though like that was the thing, that was the trend that everybody was trying to do. Like when you're out there, you knew like this doesn't feel right. I can't use everything else.
But I literally said, it was like, I'm not Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching him do it.
Right.
And he dots up there and he throws 90.
There's a reason he can do it.
Yeah.
Like
does your fastball have that vert?
It's like vert, but like, you know, I'm throwing 92, 94. I'm not throwing 97, 98. So you got to build something that lasts for a long time and not just like this little short term, I don't know, lightning in a bottle or whatever.
Right. There's an exclusive few guys that can live at the top of the zone strictly with their fastball, and those guys are really good at it, and there's a reason there's only a few guys that can do it.
These are the conversations we have. Like me, Jan, and Smiley were in Pittsburgh drinking wine together in one of our rooms one night. We were talking just like this, really. You know, two guys who are, I think they're 12 years in now or something, and it's like, I was asking him, like, how'd you get to this point, and how'd you evolve and adjust? And it's like just being convicted and building something that's like sustainable and long lasting, healthy, and you know, all those things.
For sure.
Did you feel like you had to, at points in both your careers, the velo starts to dip for everyone at a certain point? You had to kind of remodel your structure, your arsenal?
I think that, yeah, you still have that foundation of what works for you, but maybe the effectiveness of certain parts of it go down, and so you just, I think like more than anything, the usage changes to where if you used to live more off of one pitch, if that pitch is now less effective, it doesn't make sense to keep throwing it as much as you used to.
Dude, when I got drafted, I was probably one of like 5 pitchers in the minor leagues that sat 95. And then now I don't, but I go out there and watch a game and I'm like, this like dude who's been DFA'd 5 times this year, he's up and down, whatever, like those guys are throwing 97 to 100 now. So it's like, once I started seeing that trend, I'm like, okay, what can I do to make myself valuable? And for me, like, I was never like a command guy growing up, and I just sold out to being available and being healthy, which I had never really been in my career. I was like, I need to build something that I can be on the field and be available, because that can set me apart. And also like command, just being able to throw 5 or 6 pitches for strikes at different parts of the zone and stay super curious. Like I'm going to try to stay more curious about evolving than anyone else. Like that's kind of my thing right now, is like, I'm always asking questions. I'm always working on drills, just because I know like I don't have 98 up in the zone or whatever.
To your point, like I feel like with all the injuries going on now, you were one of the first guys to go through like 2 elbow surgeries, and you know, you've done a good job of managing it since. What have you had to change?
Dude, so when I got my second elbow surgery, I want to say, like, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to mess this up, but 2-time TJ guys, Evaldi, Tyler Chatwood. There's one other I'm forgetting that I talked to. Oh, Daniel Hudson. But it was like, that was like it among active players.
Yeah,
there were like 3 or 4 dudes. So when I got my second elbow surgery, I reached out to all of them and I was like, what'd you learn? How did this go for you? And the big one for me, like they were all helpful, but like Nate, Evaldi, like we actually became friends and started playing video games together. And we talked a ton about delivery, and he's a guy who had great stuff, still does, but talking about like, doesn't matter if you have great stuff if you're not on the field.
Right.
So for me, I got really into like how does my backside work? What's my, stress on my arm? And that's when I got my second elbow surgery, biomechanics were becoming a big thing, and being able to actually test the stress you're putting on your arm. So I just, again, stayed super curious. I started throwing plyo balls. I'd never done that. I started doing med ball drills off the mount. I started just doing all these things that
After that is when you redid your arm swing.
yeah,
Right?
I had a long arm and I had nasty stuff, and I was like, doesn't matter.
Right.
I can't stay out there. So I sacrificed maybe a little bit of stuff for cleaning up my arm stroke, and just I'll try to mentally get through getting guys out. But if I'm out there, I think I can be successful.
When did that change? Guys start throwing way harder, and we're seeing a lot of dudes get hurt. Is it the throwing programs or the technology?
I've seen just in the last couple months, like so many dudes getting
It's wild.
revision Tommy John surgeries and stuff.
Part of me wonders if is imaging so good now that are we detecting things that maybe people
That's a good point.
have had in the past that
Never
they
thought
weren't
about
aware of, and now
you hear trainers say all the time, like, "Are you sure you want to get an MRI? 'Cause
Yeah.
we might find things that aren't the problem.
Yeah.
that will show up."
Once you see it, you can't ignore it.
Yeah,
Like-
I think that could be some of it. I obviously think the way teams value players, I think that's a big thing. If a team tells you, we value 100 miles an hour and we value swing and miss, what are you going to do? You're going to go try to throw 100. You're going to try to get swing and miss.
No doubt.
And if you're not in a position like us where we've signed contracts and stuff, you want to do what the team says. And I still see it around the game. These dudes, and I've seen dudes get hurt and they're like, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm selling out for this because that's what's valued and that's what gets guys paid or whatever. But
Glass says it all the time.
if you're not healthy, yeah, you can't argue it for Glass because
No, his stuff is unbelievable. But I'm just saying, he says all the time that it directly correlates to his success is going out there and trying to throw as hard as he can every single pitch.
He says that?
Yeah, if
Glass
he
now?
tries to quote unquote pitch, like Jame was talking about, it doesn't work for him. So
Did you feel your Tommy John? Anything pop?
I never had a pop in either of them. So my first one, actually, I threw my spring training build up. I was on my 6-inning outing. I threw phenomenal. I threw so well. I was throwing really hard. I was living with Garrett Cole at the time in spring training, and I went back home and I was just like, dude, my elbow's burning. Something in the inside of my elbow was burning and stretching. We went to dinner that night. I was still kind of worried about it. And I got home that night. I'll never forget laying in my bed being like, dude, my fucking elbow feels like it's tearing apart. It just feels like something was pulling in both directions. I went to the field the next day. I played catch. I told my catch partner, I was like, dude, please don't go past 60 feet. I just want to see if this thing works.
right.
And he goes back to 150 feet and I'm fucking rolling the ball to him. And I walked off the field and went to my pitching coordinator. I cried. I was 20 or 21 years old. I was super close to the big leagues, and I teared up. And I was just I've never been hurt in my life. I was like, dude, something's not right. And then my second one was kind of similar. This is also kind of crazy. I turned down an extension in the spring of 2019. I'd just been named the opening day starter. Turned down an extension. I felt great. Everything felt great. I swear, the next start, 2 days after I turned down that extension, my elbow started hurting. And I pitched with it for a while. And again, I'll never forget, we were in LA and we were in an Uber to a team pitcher dinner. And all our pitchers are like, dude, man, my arm's kind of hurt and I'm grinding. No, boys, I'm hurt. I'm broken.
Yeah.
And I still made 9 starts that year. This was one of our first road trips, but everyone's like, yeah, dude, no, we all hurt sometimes. I'm like, no, I'm worried.
Yeah.
I think I'm hurt. I ended up getting my second TJ.
All my stuff was always shoulder. I never had, I had a stress fracture in my elbow in high school, but I never had ligament stuff in my elbow. It's wild to me that guys can throw with it because, with shoulder stuff, I don't know. I made it through 3 innings, I think, my start in New York before I had to pull the plug. You can't throw with it.
By the way.
You might be onto something though with the detecting the elbow better now, because I feel like when guys had TJ back in the day, you would see that pop. They would all go to it.
Always a pop, yeah.
Nowadays, I feel like a lot of time it's the recovery. It's the day after, like you're saying.
You're not bouncing back. For me, so I'd already had 1 elbow surgery, and I knew something was wrong.
Yeah, you
I
knew.
knew something was wrong. And I flew around and saw Dr. Andrews, Dugas, Alchek. We sent it to Meister. Like I saw all these team doctors, and they were all just like, "Well, you've already had one TJ, so your elbow doesn't look natural anyway. So we really don't know what's going on." So my second one, I went into surgery not knowing what I was getting.
Okay. So you woke up.
With Tommy John.
Okay.
That's
Wow,
what
That's
happened.
wild.
I felt my leg. They shaved my leg before surgery. And I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't shave my leg." I know what that means.
It's my
Don't
arm.
shave my leg. And they were like, "Well, there's like the doctor said there's a 5% chance you might need TJ."
And it was that 5%.
I woke up and the first thing I felt was my leg.
Your
I was
leg.
like,
Yeah.
Where do they pull from to put it there?
It's your gracilis. It's like one of your hamstring things.
It was probably not 5%, right? When you
No,
fell
I
asleep?
think that was probably just to ease my
Bedside
mind.
manner.
it's probably 95%.
Yeah.
Damn, that's wild. So going back, you get drafted in 2010. Crazy top 3 picks. Bryce Harper was the first pick. Manny Machado is the 3rd pick. Are the Nats even talking to any other dudes throughout that process? Harper's got to be the most expected pick of all time, right?
I don't remember. I'm sure I met with like their area scout just for them to do their due diligence. But yeah, I don't remember talking to the Nats much. It was pretty much like Pirates, Orioles. I thought I was going to the Orioles the whole time. And then I had a good meeting with the Pirates. That's probably going to pain some Pirates fans to hear. But yeah, that's a crazy process. Like being a 17, 18-year-old kid, having like
So wild.
scouts in your house every night. I mean, we did all 30 teams. We had at-home visit. You're doing questionnaires. You're meeting with GMs, mental skills coaches. Like you're having agents cold call your house, financial advisors cold call your house.
Oh yeah.
And
What is that like?
It was wild.
17, 18 years old.
it was wild. Like I think for me, it made me grow up really fast. But I also think my parents did a really good job of like, I'm the youngest of 4, and my other 3 siblings are all pretty successful. And like my parents knew, they always like instilled hard work and baseball. Like they knew I loved baseball, but they always told me there was more out there than just baseball. So I'm like really grateful for that. But my parents always kind of like protected me and like handled a lot of the calls and handled a lot of the decisions. Like I would get to make them, and then they would help me guide through the conversations and stuff. They also like stressed, don't miss your high school prom for a baseball tournament, or don't miss visiting your grandparents in the summer
Right.
for a scout visit, stuff like that. And I'm like
You
super
said, there's more out
grateful
there.
for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So you had teams in your house every single day.
My senior year spring, I honestly bet I had a team in my house every school night for at least for like a month or 2.
So they're coming back multiple times, each team.
You'd have like the area scout, and the area scout would send stuff up the chain, and then you'd have a cross checker and a GM and whatever.
But you're probably one of a few people that had that treatment. It's got to be those high school kids that are going that high out of the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably a number 1 pick any other year.
Yeah, I threw hard in high school. That's what it was. Threw hard.
Big body, throw hard. Yeah. Teams like that.
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna get the good stuff here. Pirates, minor leaguers, off-season, legendary stories.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready for this.
Yeah. I want to hear your best one out of the gate.
Pirate City, right?
Pirate City. You know what's funny about Pirate City? We hated it when we were younger, because like you're young and you want freedom, and it's like there's a curfew and you have to have a roommate and you're living at the baseball field.
It was kind of baseball boot camp.
Yeah,
Right?
but me and my buddies, I'm in a group chat with all like my minor league best friends.
Yeah.
First off, Pirates minor league system, like we had so many freaking good dudes. We're all in it together, which made it kind of fun. It's this bond that like you'll never. I didn't go to college, but I'd imagine it's like a college bond. Like you're doing 5 a.m. lifts or whatever, and it's like that was our version of it in pro ball. But we joke now. We're like, dude, there's a few guys who aren't married yet. And we're like, y'all should do your bachelor party in Pirate City. You get food cooked for you.
Yeah.
You have great Wi-Fi for video games. There's a golf course connected to it. There's a fishing pond. It's like,
More could you ask
it's
for.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like you got a 10 p.m. curfew. Perfect.
As long as you're not
Awesome.
carrying logs on
You
your
get to be
back, right?
roommates.
I have some buddies in the Pirates org. They say the same thing you did. They went to college. So they say it's pretty college oriented. It feels like
Yeah.
it's like the boot camp type vibe.
Oh yeah, but I think what you're getting at, we did Navy SEAL training. I think my favorite story is I've got a few. I've got 3 favorite stories. One of them, I was going to the fall league this year, and so I didn't have to do instructs. So I arrived like 2 weeks late. Pirate City had a cafeteria, and the food was always great. The workers were awesome. I roll in, I'm fresh off the flight. I'm like so happy to be there, do instructs, get ready for the fall league. And I walk in and they were doing their boot camp week. They were doing like their hell week or whatever. And I walk in and I see this guy, Alan Hansen, who's like our top position player prospect. I see him with like sand all over his face, just looking defeated, eating like a rationed meal. It was like a soup and an apple or whatever. I'm like, whoa, these guys are going through it. Yeah, I mean, we went to like Anna Maria Island, which is beautiful, and we would have to plank at 5 a.m. in the beach waves and stuff. And it's like, I understand what everyone was trying to do.
The
with
point
this
of
stuff. Like, I understand what they were trying to do. I do. I really do get it. And I do think it built relationships and bonds. And everyone that was in charge at that time, like, I have a lot of love for it, like, away from baseball. I just think maybe there were better ways to go about it.
Yeah.
And I think everyone you could talk to from back then would probably say the same
agree.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like something special when you're grinding with the boys, but it's like I wish I had learned a little more about my delivery and like maybe throwing plyo balls than carrying a log over my head. That being said, like we did a lot of great things in the minor league system there too.
Yeah.
And like I'm still best friends with a ton of those dudes, and we're all in each other's weddings, and we know each other's. You know, I know all their kids and stuff. Like it's a special bond. But I wish I had learned other things.
This probably pains Pirates fans too, but you can make a pretty good big league roster out of guys that came up in the Pirates system and no longer play for the organization.
Yeah, there was a ton of talent.
Mm-hmm.
The minor league system back then was freaking stacked.
They always drafted well.
I'll never forget like just signing with the Pirates and showing up and like I was like a big prospect and I sign and I'm watching like a high A spring training game my first year and I'm watching dudes who are like old for the level who haven't made it to Double A yet throwing like 94, 96 with bangers. I'm like, dude, am I cut out for this? Like, am I supposed to be here? Did I trick people? Like, I don't know. These people are incredible. And then the next year after that, we drafted Glasnow and Clay Holmes and Garrett. And these freaking monsters walk in. I'm like, dude.
That's wild. I forgot about Glasnow
all
too.
Monsters.
And Garrett Cole.
Was still in the big leagues. Like, I mean, it was just like, they
just churning them out year after year after year. You
think Skeens just ran through that boot camp coming out of Air Force?
He's like, you would probably love it, making your bed and getting judged on it and stuff. Like, I think things are pretty different now. I think now they let players have a lot of ownership over what they're doing and stuff like that.
So back then, the Pirates were the only team doing things like that. I mean, going out to a beach for planks and shit like that.
Pirates
5 a.m.
were the only team doing it, and I have respect for I really do have respect for the people in charge for doing it because their reasoning was like, we're the Pirates, we have to do things different. Like, we're not the Yankees, we're not the Dodgers, and like to this day, like I have a little bit of that edge inside of me. Like, I don't know, I sound like a loser, but like I get what they were doing. It's like we have to do things differently. Like they hadn't won for 25 years or whatever. They hadn't been to the playoffs in forever, and it's like, what are we gonna do? Just keep doing the same stuff, or are we gonna learn to freaking punch back a little bit?
Yeah, it's harder. It's easier to accept something if there's like a legitimate reason.
That's the way it was like sold to me, and like I get it. And it's again, was it the best thing to do? Probably not, but like I don't know.
It's just so different than anybody else's experience. That's why it stands out.
Yeah, and it looks bad to a lot of people. Like I remember once that caught word to like a lot of the beat writers and stuff. Like it looked really bad, and it still does. But like I don't know. I'm down to try different shit. Like, I'd rather try it. I'd rather exhaust every option.
Did Garrett have to participate?
No, because he went to the fall league his first year.
Right.
To big league
and then straight to the big leagues. Yeah.
So he never got that Pirate City experience.
He did get a Pirate City experience for a little bit when he was going to the Arizona Fall League, but there was a rule that if you buy a house, you don't have to stay there. So Garrett bought a house. There's obviously tax reasons for Florida and stuff, but Garrett bought a house, lived off, and then I went to big league camp and was like, "Can I stay with you?"
That's awesome.
So getting into your debut, you get another surgery after Tommy John. 2014 was your TJ, and then 2015 you had another surgery that set back your debut. You didn't debut till 16.
Yeah. So 15. This hurt because the Pirates were really good at this point. They were like super fun. The city of Pittsburgh was all in on baseball. Like I had been watching the games thinking like, dude, 2014, I knew I was going to miss the year. 2015, I was like, I'm going to freaking help this team. I don't care if I'm throwing long relief. I don't care what, but I'm going to get up there and help them.
Or be a part of that.
I'm rehabbing. I'll never forget this. I'm throwing a like 5-inning game. Like I'm really close to going, I think, to AA or AAA or whatever for my next rehab outing. And I'm at the complex though, and I'm throwing 97 arm side, and I'm throwing like 85 extension because I had a hernia and I couldn't get over my front side.
Mm-hmm.
So I woke up the next day and I called our PT and I was like, hey, there's no point in me coming to the field. Like I need an MRI or something.
Yeah.
It hurts so bad. So I got sports hernia surgery. Honestly, a pretty easy bounce back, but I missed the rest of that year. And then, 16.
Easy, just the rehab process, or
Yeah, it was like compared to like a TJ.
Sure, yeah.
It was like a,
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I think I got that surgery like early July, and I was like already back in instructs throwing games in September or October.
the mental grind of it, nothing near Tommy John, right?
Yeah. I was pretty defeated at that point because you spend
Oh, yeah.
that much time rehabbing, and you're like, I had my mind set on helping. So they went to the Wildcat game that year.
Right.
And like, I don't know if I could have helped push them to a division title, whatever, but like in
Mhm.
my head, I'm like, I want to help. And then everything I'd worked for was like, well,
So at
we
the
got it next year.
wild card game against the Reds, where they're all chanting Cueto's name.
I forget what order. I think it went like Reds, Giants, Cubs. I think 15 was the Cubs.
Okay.
But yeah, it was 3 years in a row of like being a really damn good team. But the NL
Mhm.
Central was really good.
You were put through the ringer, so you get domed up. You said by 2 line drives. When was the first one? I've seen one of the videos, and you just ate it. You
I
just
got hit
laid
in
there.
2016. Dude,
It
I got
was,
hit.
it was a rocket off your head. Your eyes were open. You
I
were
got hit in
conscious.
2016 by Hernan Perez on the Brewers. I think it was 105, and I threw it, and I turned, and it hit me like on the lip of my hat, like where the padding is, and I mean it hit me so hard it went into left field, like flew off my head. And Clint Hurdle and like the team comes out, and Clint was a big like just people person, like he really cared for us. Like he would tell you every day he loves you. And he's out there, he's freaked out. And the trainers are asking me the questions. It's like the second inning. Like, I can't screw the bullpen. Trainers are like,
Have
where
to
are
go.
you? And I'm like, I'm at, Federal Street. I'm in Pittsburgh. And I'm like nailing all the questions. And I could just see Clint was like freaked. Rightfully so. You
Right.
have this like 24-year-old rookie who just got domed.
I can't let him keep doing this.
Holy cow.
I stand up though and I throw a warm-up pitch. I can't feel my legs. Like the adrenaline, like I
Oh,
think
yeah.
my body went into fight or flight mode or something. I didn't even feel my legs, didn't know what I was doing. I ended up getting a quality start that day. I went like 6 with 2.
It's wild.
And then it happened to me again in 2019. I had one of those just innings from hell at Wrigley, which I know now being on this side, like Wrigley can just, the wind, the
Can
sun,
spiral in
it can spiral.
in a
The
hurry.
fans, the bleachers, like
Yeah.
it's a crazy environment. I have one of those innings. I gave up like 600 runs, but like a lot of it was I gave up like an 0-2 hit to John Lester, and I'm out there just freaking grinding. Rizzo hits a ball 105 off my head, just to add insult to a bad day, insult to injury.
109 broke my arm, so just neither of those
Yeah.
were hit hard enough.
I remember the trainers told me or the doctors, there was a good chance that like that first one that hit me right here could have been pretty bad, but it hit me like right on the perfect part of my
Mhm.
hat to like protect me.
It's like a barrier, right?
I can't believe you got domed by 105 and you pitched 6 innings and you just got up.
I also remember a former pitcher commented on Twitter that night. I think it was Kurt Schilling. He was like, pitchers today fall off so bad. They're not in a fielding position. And I'm like,
That's why you got hit.
number one, Kurt Schilling tweeting me is pretty sweet. Like I grew up watching this dude. He's a freaking legend. And I was like, but what am I supposed to do with 105?
Right.
Like, should I what position should I finish in?
If I was in a fielding
Maybe it hits
position,
me
it
in
would
the
have hit me
nose.
right in the middle of the yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, guys are hitting the ball so hard now. There's I don't know if you know Tyler Zombro, that minor
Oh, yeah.
leaguer that got hit
Yeah.
5-6 years ago. One of my buddies on the Angels got hit in the head as well. He started seizing on the field. Scary.
It is scary, like when
It's wild.
you see guys get hit in the head, and it's not
now
it's not fun to be
Every
up there.
stadium shows exit velo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll give up a ground ball where I feel like, man, I made a great pitch to a good hitter. I've never put him on the ground, but let's just say like Yordan Alvarez or something hits a ball. You get him out, you're like, holy shit, that ball was hit hard. And you look up and it's like 112 with a -10. Like it's on the ground.
The
Even
hardest
ground
ones are
balls
the ground
freaking-
balls. I mean, what we used to joke, Big G didn't get the barrel unless it was over 115.
Are you guys scared of certain dudes? Like, what guys that come up are you like,
I've never consciously thought about it when I'm out there.
I don't think there's a specific guy. Like I got Jason Kipnis hit me in the head in spring training one year, and I remember it took me probably 3 or 4 months after that to like when a guy would foul a ball straight back and you would get that visual, like I would like flinch and like it's more the visual of it than the guy specifically.
You said you got hit in the arm?
I hit the arm in Miami, broke my forearm.
Is that 2019?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that.
2019?
Mm-hmm.
So 2017, still can't catch a break. Your first full season was 20.
So 16, I technically had a full year between like AAA and the big leagues. And then 17 was the first year I broke camp. I was like a big leaguer. I'm going north with the team. Made the team. And that's the year I got cancer.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So you got cancer and you're pitching, what, a couple weeks after surgery?
Yeah, so I think it was like May 4th or 5th. And I was in Cincinnati and I was just being a dude, like laying in bed. Not doing anything, just watching TV, had my hand in my pants, and I felt something that just felt off. And like, I don't know,
I mean, we've all had our hand on our pants since we were like 3 years old.
I was just watching like South Park or something on TV.
You know what's normal and what's not.
Yeah, I go to the field the next day. It was my start day, and I tell our trainer Ben Patenziano and Todd Tomzik, I'm like, hey boys, like, I felt something last night.
It's getting off to South Park.
I love South Park. But I went to them, and it's weird. Like, I was just in Cincinnati, and I was in the training room, and it, like, triggers me still to this day. Like, I'll never forget being in that corner of the training room and having our trainers, like, feel my nut. And they didn't say anything. It's almost like how parents protect kids, you know? But, like, they didn't say anything, but I could see it on their face that they knew something was wrong. They're like, are you still good to pitch? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm good to pitch. They're like, we're going to get that looked at when we get back to Pittsburgh tomorrow. Dude, it's the weirdest thing. I went 6 innings that night, I think with 6 runs. I had good stuff, but I gave up some runs. And I had it in the back of my mind all night. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't told anyone yet. I hadn't told my now wife. I hadn't told anybody.
What did you know at this point? Just that something
Just that I had
wrong?
a lump on my left nut. That's it. But I'm not stupid. Like, I knew something. I knew it was not right. And that spring training, I was getting like exertion headaches, like migraines. I was sleeping like 11 hours a night. Like, I normally sleep 7 or 8. Shit was like starting to come to me where I'm like, I've been really off.
It's not adding up. Yeah.
My dad texts me after the game, and my dad's like, hey, is everything okay? Like, you just looked really off tonight. Like, not physically, not baseball, but like, I don't even know if my dad remembers, but he texted me this, like, my fatherly instinct, like, something just didn't seem like yourself. Are you okay? And I didn't say anything, and I saw the doctors the next day and then figured it out. But it was super weird.
So they were like, we got to go and do surgery.
Did surgery. So I pitched that Thursday, saw the doctor in Pittsburgh Friday, had surgery, and I'm super lucky that, like, just as an athlete with, like, the doctor network connections, like, a lot of people have to wait a long time to get surgeries and stuff. I had surgery that Monday. And then, just monitored my blood work, scans, all that every couple weeks. And I was like 25 or 26 at this time, and they gave me the option. They're like, you can do chemo and radiation, like, knock this out for sure. Because I was like a low level. It's like a grade 1B cancer or whatever, and they were like, you can definitely knock this out, or we can just like monitor it. So I was literally going to the hospital every like 2 weeks, doing blood work, CT scans, monitoring it, and going and like pitching and stuff, which is something probably like
crazy.
No one really knows. Like, I don't know if I've, outside of my family and like my wife and stuff, I don't know if anyone, like, I don't even know if my teammates knew. I was like doing a brain MRI to make sure cancer wasn't spreading, and then going to the field.
It's hard enough to pitch in the big leagues,
dude,
let alone.
I think honestly, I think what helped me, like, because I didn't have a great year that year, but I have a bad year, and I think part of it is I was so young and so dumb that, like, I didn't know how hard the big leagues were. I didn't know what I was going through, really. I just wanted to play baseball.
You heavier on one side now?
Way heavier on the right side.
That's why your dad hit you up. Something looked off. That is wild, though. I mean, you're going to be the first dude now. Every accomplishment, it'll be like the first guy to have 12 Ks with one ball.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I was on a rehab assignment with our AAA team, and someone came up to me, and they were like, we have to be the only pro baseball team with 3 dudes. 3 dudes with one nut. It's like one of our pitchers and one of our infielders. I think one of them I think had cancer, and then one of them got hit by a line drive or something.
That was in Iowa.
Yeah,
You guys had 3 dudes with 1 ball.
yeah. We
Wow.
all played on. Well, I don't know if the reliever pitched that night, but like we were all active on the same night.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's got to be the only time.
Yeah, it's gotta
Gotta
be.
Yeah. All right. So coming off that battle with cancer, you have a couple years there, and then you go off to the Yanks. That's 21, right?
21. Yeah, I got traded January of 20.
How much different is that playing in New York? Is it what people make it out to be with the fans and everything that comes with it?
When you come, I feel like when you come from a small market like Pittsburgh or a small market like Cleveland, and then you go to a place like New York, it's probably a very big difference.
Yeah. When I got traded there, I was like a little nervous, to be honest. I hadn't pitched in 2 years. I get traded there, and I'm like, I'm coming from Pittsburgh, I'm going to New York, whatever. And this sounds cheesy again, but I think a little bit of that like small market grittiness that I had and like that edginess like prepared me for it. Just like that hard nosed, I don't give a shit what people think. Like, I just want to pitch, play.
I would say the same thing. I think that like
You see a lot of people go there that can't handle it, and I'm not saying I'm like some mentally tough, crazy dude, but like I think just playing with Pittsburgh and being there and like getting that experience prepared me for that.
you learn
also
how to
helped
be
a lot.
you learn how to be
Yeah.
a big leaguer without all the bullshit that
Yeah.
comes with like
I learned how to take care of business and like just
Mhm.
understand the process.
Right.
And I imagine you feel
I think that if I would have like been in New York from the jump, I think it would have been a lot harder maybe to deal with some of the stuff that comes with being in New York.
So hard.
Especially if you have success right away, because everybody wants a piece of you, like
What are the little differences? Is it just the media hype, like everything that comes with that post
numbers,
game?
the amount of people, the amount of eyes.
Third deck.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I think for me, like something about Pittsburgh that I loved was just like it was easy. Like my drive to the field was 12 minutes. I knew exactly where my Whole Foods was. I knew exactly where my coffee shop was. Like everything was so cozy. I knew every stadium worker. I knew every spring training cafeteria worker. And then you go to New York and it's like, this is a machine. Like this is a freaking operation. And that to me was a lot different.
Yeah. Although he embraced it. I mean, he would ride the subway to and from.
What?
Not from, to most of the time, right?
To the game?
I would do it some from if I had a partner.
Day game.
2 every day.
With someone on the team or just a buddy?
Just myself. To the field, I'd go by myself every day.
And no one said anything to you?
Dude, the thing about New York is like people just don't really care.
No.
Like everyone's got a place to be. Everyone's doing something. Like people would acknowledge if they'd be like, "Dude, nice game the other day," or hoping you get back on track. Like people would say stuff, but then it was just over. Like they'd just move on and go about their day.
It wouldn't,
That
like,
New York speed,
They don't linger. Yeah.
that's real. Like you pass someone on the street, no one wants to talk. They're just like, "Hey, good to see you. See you."
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've heard it's rowdy on the way back, though.
The subway.
Yeah, the subway.
I would only do that if it was a day game and I had someone to ride with.
I took it back one day game with him because I think Amanda and the kids were in town, staying at a hotel downtown, and we took it back post game. It was an experience.
I grew up in the South and there's not much public transportation and I was pretty enamored by it. Like I could take an Uber and it's going to cost me just an Uber X would cost me from where I lived like $50 and it's going to take me 45 minutes to an hour. Or I can pay $2 and take the subway from Union Square and it's going to get me there in 30 minutes, door to door, from my walk until I'd walk through the Hard Rock and get to the house. Like,
Even a high school education says that's the way to go.
I was committed to ride.
You had some good experiences there too. You guys playoffs in 21 and 22. Do you feel that pressure to get to the playoffs? And then once you're there, I guess you had never been in the playoffs before that, right?
I hadn't. I think for me, like, first off, 2021, no one tried harder to win the wild card game than me and Corey with our rally shots in the Boston locker.
Yeah.
What do we got there? We're
on the roster, and so we had to find a way to contribute.
You two didn't play in 21 in the playoffs?
So
We just
like
played one game wild card play. And
the team sets their roster for each game. So Garrett started the game. There wasn't really a point to have
The starters.
the two of us as starters on the roster. I think Monty was in the pen, right?
I think he was.
Yeah. So like you usually put one starter down there as like a long relief option. Neither of us were. So like we're inactive. We had to figure out some way to contribute.
Just trying to rally the boys.
Yeah. We fell short, but
So you guys are just ripping shots
We tried.
beforehand.
all during the game.
During,
we were
yeah.
trying our hardest.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I think a cool thing about New York is that they expect to go to the playoffs every year. And I thought like kind of a interesting thing was that they expect to go to the playoffs every year. So like 22, we played Cleveland. And I remember looking across the way and it's like they're having the time of their lives playing
Yeah.
us and they lost and we beat them. But it's like, well, we're supposed to. And then we played the Astros and we got swept in the ALCS. And it just like, we had a really, really damn good team. But it was super exciting. And it was super nerve wracking. And I got to pitch in the playoffs and I was freaking sick. But it felt like it was World Series or bust. Like it felt like, cool, you win this. That's what you're supposed to do.
Sometimes the expectations don't allow you to like enjoy like what you're actually doing.
I really enjoyed that year and I loved being a part of that team, but it felt like we made the ALCS and it was like a total failure.
Yeah.
So you can feel that in New York.
Yeah.
It is different. What about CK's no? What was your perspective? Where were you? Dugout?
Dugout, yeah. I pitched that series. Texas. I was kind of new to the team. Corey was kind of new to the team.
You were on a recruiting visit, no?
I was on a recruiting visit. I was blown away
You go,
by that new stadium.
First time you go to that stadium, it's mind blowing.
I mean, they have like pictures in the training room of like the home side stuff, and I was just like, dude, I hope they're interested in me because this place looks super. Yeah, Kluber's no hitter. I'm trying to think of like the memorable moments. Tyler Wade made a really cool play.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Higgy caught you.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking love Higgy. So I really enjoyed, honestly, like one of my favorite parts of that game was talking to Higgy the rest of that year about that game and about you. And every time he caught you about like productive misses and what you were thinking and what you're trying to do. And it just like, it taught me a lot about pitching, talking to Higgy about catching you.
Higgy and Jan, I would say, are the two guys that I feel like cared the most when they were catching for me that I had. Like just they wore it, whether it was good or bad, like probably more, I feel like, than I did.
You guys were probably juiced in the dugout. I mean, being a part of a no-hitter.
Juiced. You know what's weird is during a no-hitter, I've seen some from across the way. I've seen some like deep ones go. I haven't been a part of a ton of like home ones or like seen them go deep. But during yours, I was hyper aware of what was going on, and I don't think anyone else was. Like us starters and pitchers were like kind of looking around. And I felt the rest of the dugout and the coaching staff were just going about their day, like what's going on. And I'm like, are we seeing this?
It's like you're talking like the fifth inning.
Like fifth, sixth. I'd say once you start knowing, everyone around the leagues get notifications. Like you open the MLB app and you start seeing no hitter in red. When
They do that so early now. Now I feel like they do it in the fourth inning.
Yeah, they do it so early.
Like,
but once I'm starting to think about that, I'm in the dugout. I'm like, everyone around the league starting to tune into this shit. Like, do we know what's going on?
We were watching on the bus.
Sick.
I just kept my mouth shut. Everyone was watching, and I was like, I kind of know him a little bit, but I probably shouldn't tell them not for the first time now.
Not now.
Probably wouldn't be believable.
Another time.
So after New York, get to Chicago. Most fans would say you get paid, you get your big deal. All the nerves go away. You're just playing free. Is that not the case at all? You still get those butterflies?
Yeah. I mean, I've never done it for like money or anything. So for me, I'm very process oriented and I enjoy my routine. I enjoy the process of like just being curious about how good I can be and how I can get better and what I can improve on. And I'd say, if anything, it's just added fuel to the fire. Like I want to prove people right. I want to make the people who believed in me look smart. I got off to a really bad start last year and that like freaking ate at me. I'm not saying it would be easy if you were a young guy, but for me being like a guy making money who they were counting on, like I think they lost like 9 of my first 11 starts or something. Like I wasn't brought here to do that. And just money aside, like I'm gonna be okay, but it's never about that. Like once you make a certain amount, I don't know, it's still a kid's game. You're still just trying to compete and like enjoy your teammates and win and compete against the dude in the box and the other team and prepare for them. And
it's almost more than the money. It's the security of like, obviously the team could trade you, but knowing you're going to be in that place for 4, 5, 6, however many years. Like that's from a player standpoint. When you get to free agency, I feel like that's the bigger like apple.
Yeah, for me, like Chicago was a place I really wanted to go. I told my agents, like, when you're a free agent, they gave me, they said, hey, give us 5 to 8 teams that you'd love to play for. So, Yankees, Cubs, top of my list. If they call, we freaking answer. So for me, like going to Chicago was a dream, and then I started off kind of sucking, and that hurt. But that's kind of, in a weird way, kind of part of the fun that like turns me on to the competitiveness of the big leagues. Is like finding a way to figure it out and adjust and learn and get better.
Yeah, well, I think that's, you talk about that. Not many guys get to that 10-year threshold anymore. I think it's because a lot of guys shy away from that challenge now.
Yeah.
Like it's not an easy road to get that far because guys figure out so quickly. But
we talk a lot about current players. We talk a lot about outlasting guys.
mm-hmm.
That's a skill. Like outlasting dudes is a freaking skill because everyone's talented. Like how can you outlast guys?
Yeah.
We used to see your teammate Josh Tomlin.
Yep.
That dude just outlasted guys. We used to
Perfect.
talk about him when we were with pitchers.
Perfect
We were all
example of it.
rookies. We're like, this dude is just outlasting.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Chavez,
Mm-hmm.
outlasting.
Yep.
Outwilling people, wants it more, like finding a way.
No doubt.
I think we go to cheers to that though. Cheers to the deal. Couldn't
Love
fight.
that.
Couldn't fight for $1 more million though. 69 would have been cool.
That would have been nice, dude. Actually, funny story about our pitching coach with Chicago. My cutter, it's kind of a slutter. He jokes around about like I throw a lot of them around like 6 and 6 horizontal and vert metrics, nerd talking. Every time I get close to 6'9" and 6'9", he like freaks out on the track, man. He's like, "Oh, I got so close the other day. I got to like 7'2" and 6'8". Finding my way
All
there.
right, we'll get there.
No matter how old you are, it's
It's never not funny.
it's a good number.
Yeah.
I was curious about that, your pitch package, and like what numbers you look at in terms of analytics. I know it's boring talk, but it is cool where we're at now in terms of technology and how you've changed things as you've gotten older throughout your career.
I think analytics as a whole are like it's good if you use it the right way.
Yeah.
I'd say for me
That's
it's
the tricky
impacted
part.
me positive. It's impacted me positively in like my forcing. I look at like vert and horizontal. I want as low horizontal as possible, as much vert as possible. Like I like that like ride cut profile. My curveball, I like it to be more up and down. My cutter, I've got a certain shape, all this, but like I grew up throwing two seam like with the Pirates. That's what they taught. You
Yep.
throw two seam.
Everybody, right?
That's what you do. You throw a two seam middle down. Metrically, like my two seam stinks, and I feel like that's forced me mentally. It's no one else's fault but myself to like abandon it
Mhm.
because I know metrically it's not a great pitch. I'm like, well, I don't want to get beat on a pitch that isn't great, so I just
Right.
I don't throw that anymore. I don't throw my changeup much anymore because it stinks metrically.
I was going to ask you that. You don't throw the changeup or the sinker much.
Yeah, and that's just like they're both like pitches I know how to use and know how to command and throw, and I might start throwing.
You came up
Never seen
learning to throw 'em.
But I came up throwing like a sinker, and it's like, well, metrically, I don't want to get beat on that pitch.
I mean, didn't you have like a 1 in 2021 when you started throwing your sinker again?
Yeah, my sinker. It opened it. And I still throw it to righties a good bit, but like I don't ever throw it to lefties.
No, it's not much left.
It's once hitters find that out, they know to eliminate this, eliminate that. I don't have to look for this or be concerned about that.
Yeah.
Stuff up. So
No doubt.
yeah, the pitch package thing is, I think that changes metrically a lot. We have a guy on our team, Javier Assad, who's freaking nasty and shoving, and he doesn't give a shit about anything I'm
Right.
repeating. He'll throw, me and him have like similar metric. He throws a changeup, a sinker. He doesn't care. He throws it to both sides, every hitter.
Different things work for different guys, though, right? Like some guys want the numbers and some guys don't need them.
Did you
That's what I
invent
think.
the sweeper or am I making that up?
Did I invent it?
He just nodded his head.
The clue ball.
I don't know. I just that was
He was
that's
the
what my
first
break
one to
ball
start
was.
throwing it, right? Kind of.
I think so. And then Mike King, I don't know, whole Yankees whore.
Yeah.
And I got to Chicago and I started throwing it
Because of him.
because of him.
What's
Yeah,
the,
but that,
what is it?
that like I didn't. That's just what my breaking ball was. I didn't like try to create that pitch. I think that's maybe the difference. Like some of the guys, I think that try to chase horizontal now, they end up getting hurt. They're probably doing something that like their body's not accustomed to doing.
Is it just a glorified slider? Is that what it is?
It's like
It's a breaking.
I feel like yours was just it was a breaking ball.
It's a breaking ball. Yeah.
It's like a curveball that you threw from like a lower slot
Mm-hmm.
that swept. I throw both, and it's a dangerous game to throw both. It's like last year
So they start marrying into each other.
my curveball started getting way more sweep and kind of like mirroring my sweeper. Now I've kind of got it figured out, but it took me a while to figure it out.
You want to rip a little trivia lightning round?
The lightning round.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
So we're gonna get to sign his bat. If you'd be so kind. Getting all the season 1 guests on this bat. Give it off to a lucky
If I can
fan.
figure out Jose Bautista.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. I saw his jersey get retired in Toronto last year.
You were there for it?
Dude, I don't know him, and it kind of made me emotional when they showed like the hype video,
Yeah.
review and everything. It's like that's what you freaking play for.
So 2 trivia questions while you're signing this puppy, then we'll get into the lightning round. First question, which 8 states have 2 or more MLB teams?
Texas, New York, California, Illinois, Florida. Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you've played in 3 of the states.
Dog.
2 more.
I'm still thinking East Coast here. I'm thinking,
One of them's tough.
where is DC Stadium? Is it in DC?
Yeah, but and then Baltimore's Maryland.
Oh,
Mid-Atlantic. No.
that's what I was.
Midwest.
Oh, Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Last one's the tough one.
Give me a.
The team's name is a different state than where they play. One of the 2 teams.
Team's name is a different state. That's a freaking brain buster.
Thanks for the bets.
What is it?
Missouri.
Missouri.
KC and St. Louis.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know it until you said that.
I didn't realize you played in 3 of the states till I was reading them off. Second question, furthest Canada has ever made it in the WBC.
I played for Canada. 2013, dude. I felt so bad turning Canada down this last season. Oh my god. They asked me to play. I wanted to play like so bad, but I just signed with a new team. I was like, I feel like it's a bad look if I
Yeah.
leave spring my first year. And then I watched that kid throw against, was it the U.S.? They had like a little lefty.
I think
He was
so.
in pro ball with like the Rangers.
Yep.
I was like, they asked me to throw that game.
That would have been your day.
And after me, like taking pressure off of them, and I'm sitting there watching it, like
It could have been.
shit. Canada, my year we didn't make it out of our bracket. This year, we didn't make it out.
They've never made it out of their
Yeah,
bracket.
they've never,
They've
never made it out of the
I'll
bracket.
tell you what, we had a lot of fucking fun in 2013.
It's all
You guys
that
have some
matters.
dogs,
It's all that
though.
matters.
We had a lot. 2013, our roster had Votto, Morneau, Michael Saunders.
No,
Freddie?
Freddie did not
not
play
yet
then.
in 13.
Philippe Aumont.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Russell Martin wanted to play, but only if he could play like infield or something, not catch.
Not catch.
Brett Lowry.
Mm.
Lowry?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
It was nasty. And for me, I was in AA, and I'm like showing up to this locker with these dudes.
Yeah.
I got to throw against Team USA that year. It was sick.
I haven't heard anybody that says the WBC was a bad experience.
Dude. For a minor league kid, it's freaking sweet.
There's some
I've
countries you
heard
can
it's
play
awesome.
for, too, that are the minor leaguers. It's all prospects, like
Mhm.
Great Britain.
Yeah,
It was all young guys.
Great Britain. Even Canada. Play for it. The Naylor brothers,
Mm-hmm.
True.
Freddie.
CK lightning round questions? You
Yeah,
got
let's
any
do it.
for 'em?
Better food city, Chicago or New York?
Those are the two best.
I know. You got to pick one.
Here, I think the top end of New York is probably a little higher. I'd say the average night in Chicago is better.
All right.
And it's more attainable. Like you can
Yeah,
get reservations in Chicago a little easier.
because you're travel secretary.
Dude, he's a joke.
It's a vet answer.
He's a joke. I That's my answer. I'm trying to think of another way I can word it. I think the top end of New York is one of the best in the world. And I think the average night in Chicago, you can just have a great night.
Fair enough.
Casually at a lot of places.
Fair enough. Who is your tier one of players in the league? And maybe Shohei, when he's pitching, is his own tier. So
Shohei's a
look-
unicorn.
yeah, we'll put him in a unicorn. How many players are you putting in that tier one, and who are they? That are just
Pitchers and hitters?
pitchers and hitters that are just way better than every big leaguer, which is hard to believe, but who's that tier one?
You know, I feel like we as players like talk about these guys. Like they have a different experience. Like
Yep.
top tier dudes
Yep.
don't go through what we go through. You were there at 1.2. You don't know. You had a peak that you don't know what the rest of the guys are going through. Judge, Garrett. I'm gonna say like 10, like Freddie, Mookie. They're getting older now, but like Max, Verlander, Kershaw,
Soto,
Soto,
Acuna.
Cunha, Braves whole lineup. Like it's hard. Tier one's like hard because like
Yeah, like where do you draw the line?
like
I don't know.
a lot of really damn good players.
So I was curious if you guys had a tier one of guys that just
I'd say
separated
there's like
themselves.
10 right now.
I'll say Shohei's tier one, and then everybody else is
Deal.
tier two.
Deal.
I
Fair
think like
enough.
Freddie, Mookie. We were talking about this in the locker room the other day. We were just like, if you were drafting a team tomorrow and you could pick a hitter, who are you picking? We asked our hitters this.
Just a hitter.
Just hitter. Just purely like you haven't at bat. We're talking like over a full year. Like
Sure.
you don't just need one at bat. We were talking like you have one hitter you can pick, and our hitters' answers were all like fascinating. Surprising.
Really?
I think he's a great player, but like a lot of dudes said Mookie.
Yeah.
Like because he can do everything.
Mookie's good at everything,
Fast.
right?
Doesn't push out. Hits for power. Good AB every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good answer. Hard to
think-
argue with.
I don't know. If I'm taking one position player right now, Judge is on a different level in terms of he just does things that no one else can do.
He's a joke.
He is a joke.
I think playing with him, man.
It's fun to watch every day too.
Bobby Witt would be another pick for me because he is a shortstop and he can run.
Bobby
he can do
Witt
everything.
last year. I faced Bobby Witt last year. One at bat. He hit an infield, like he had a routine ground ball to third base. Beat it out.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he stole second or not, but I'm sure he did. Next at bat, hit a homer off me. I'm just like, there's not many dudes in the league that can like
Do all that.
beat a routine ground ball to third, steal second, next AB, pump you like way back. He's exciting. I think the most underrated player in baseball, Jose Ramirez. Like,
He's
Yeah.
every single year. Yeah. I mean,
No
he'll
one
never
talks
get
about him.
the
there's
Dewey.
so many good players right now.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Wow.
You got any other cues, Corey?
No, man, that was good.
I got one more.
Yeah.
Is Cody Bellinger stoned on the field?
No,
Or does he just appear to be?
Pierce. I get that question a lot. Cody is one of the most like baseball rat grinder dudes I've ever played with. I think that would blow a lot of people's mind.
So it's a myth.
It's a total myth. I don't know what he does off the field, but at the field, the dude is
Yeah.
locked in. I'm telling you, like this dude is the most prepared position player. Like he's up there for me with like Judge. And
I can see that though. Like,
give
I
a
mean,
fuck, caring.
That's sick.
He's that level.
Yeah.
Weight room every day. Knows his drills. Like knows the pitcher he's facing that day. Like
He's got a
he's like,
routine.
You don't just like fall into an MVP award.
no, doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah. I asked him this question last year. We were hanging out in my room, maybe in Cincinnati,
Watching South Park.
having a bourbon together, and I was just like, dude, I gotta ask you, are you ever high at the field? And he was just, oh, that's just my thing. No, it's just me.
So discussion ended.
Yeah,
He just
So-
appears to be.
Cody's one of my favorite teammates here.
That's good. That's sick. Sick to
He's
hear.
on my Mount Rushmore.
All right.
Fair enough. All right. Jameson Taillon, a menace, wears balls, just eats balls off the face.
Where's Ball?
Where's ball? Has one ball.
Do you remember the first time with the Yankees? I got my first one. And Aaron was like, "This dude's got a lot of balls." And
One.
I was like, "Booney, it's Ball." it's singular. It's one.
Biggest ball in the league. Thanks for joining
Yep.
us. Appreciate it. Yeah.